Hello, Daphne. Okay, I'm not gonna start like
Hey, teacher.
that. Welcome to the first inaugural, final, complete episode of the podcast with Andrew and Joey from
Hello.
from
Doing?
Daphne Masonette's English 1101 class.
Yes,
I'm
this is
Joey,
indeed. I'm Andrew.
and today we're gonna talk about if tourists are worth the hassle. So let me give you a quick introduction. Tourism has always been seen as a way to connect people and boost economies, but it also raises some difficult questions about racism, cultural exploitation, inequality, and today we'll be discussing, has global tourism helped unite nations or has it deepened prejudice and economic imbalance? I know a lot of people think that tourism benefits everybody by promoting understanding, creating jobs, bringing in money for the economies, while a lot of other people think it's not worth it. And they cause environmental damage, degrades their culture, and
Yeah,
degrades, is it the right way to say that?
degrades.
Degrades? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's in one of our primary sources we used for this was from Ekaterina Kostina, and she said that Japan's policies towards foreigners often reflect not overt hostility but institutional neglect, allowing discrimination to persist quietly beneath the surface. I did a lot of my research around Japan. Um, I've never been to Japan, but as you can tell from my profile picture, I'm kind of a weeb, kind of a nerd. So
Would love to go though.
yeah, I'd love to go. Unfortunately, the yen, is gaining stability, and the U.S. dollar is decreasing. But
Unfortunately,
whatever.
college students are not the most
Oh yeah,
frequent of
yeah.
people.
Also, I'm not that flush with cash. Okay.
Hey, yeah.
So in the next few minutes, we're going to talk about xenophobia, economic dependence on tourism, and erosion
Cultural
of,
degradation,
yes, exactly, cultural.
identity loss.
There you go.
Lots of messed up stuff, and we're gonna cover all of it
Oh yeah.
because we're just that good of people. All right.
So first of all, I wanted to bring up racism, hatred of foreigners, or the fancy word xenophobia, which is xenophobia, xenophobia. Yeah, it's like if it's like a sci-fi word because it's like hatred of aliens, but you know. So a lot of people, especially the stuff I researched, I looked up Japan. A lot of the old people in Japan, it's even some of the new young people, hate tourists because they say they do all the crime, they overcrowd, they disrupt everyday life. Like I've seen many videos of Americans like on trains just like screaming or yelling or doing something crazy. Um, if you know who Logan Paul is, that might ring a bell.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But a lot of people, not even in just Japan, all over the world, are getting a little bit more xenophobic, a little bit more racist. Um, and I found a pretty interesting video actually on Instagram that I would like to play. So you should be able to see that link for yourself, Andrew. I'm going to play it on my OBS for a minute.
Okay.
You are no longer welcome in Japan. Yeah, cancel that girls' trip. You see, unfortunately, Japan, similar to many other countries right now, are entering a very far-right, anti-foreigner stage in their society right now. And well, they are absolutely taking it to the max. To be specific, this far-right movement within Japan has actually been sweeping the nation over the past year, but has only been amplified due to the influx of tourists. Now, Japan and many other Asian countries are infamous for not being too kind to foreigners, but there has been a mass increase of reports from foreigners within Japan detailing the increased racism that they are experiencing because of the rise of the far right. Many shops are now flat out putting signs saying no foreigners, no black people, Japanese only, which was once the irregularity but is now becoming the normality. And of course, as you can imagine, some people have actually called the police in these instances, and of course the police don't do anything. This is not the West. So please, if you are a foreigner, or someone that is obviously not Japanese and you're planning to go to Japan, be aware of this new fact. Be aware of the sociopolitics that's clearly happening and affecting the country. And for your sake, plan ahead. You are no longer welcome
Oh,
in Japan.
that is very topical. And
I agree very much.
even though she was a little, more spunky about delivering it than we are.
Yeah, she's definitely got that.
So I know a lot of people, well, if you're listening to this, you probably live in America. And we are very far right now, our politics. The House, the Senate, and the president are all all far right, pretty far right. And in America, the sentiment is, like right now, ICE is raiding U.S. cities, which is crazy, and it's all to blame foreigners, Mexicans, or like who else is even being blamed right now? I guess just imaginary Mexicans.
In America, it's the Mexicans, and in Europe, there's a lot of Islamophobe, especially, and African.
Yeah, and people hate Indians too in like the UK and stuff.
And yeah, there's a lot about that about Indians in Japan and colleges, because a lot of these places they go just by who gets the highest grades.
Yep.
And a lot of times they'll have like 95% Indian and East Asian.
Yep, Indians are just stupidly smart sometimes, and they get all the visas.
Yes, it's true. So there's a lot of
there's
a lot of racism going on about this particular racism.
Yeah, like people in the U.S. know that our government hates Mexicans, but a lot of people don't realize that this is all over the world right now. In Europe, Andrew just said, you know, Africans, Indians are hated, and in Asia, it's like a weird trifecta. Like China, Korea, and Japan have less than 1% of each other's population of, like, you know, Chinese people living in Korea or Japan and vice versa. Yet if you go to like any news site there and there's a problem, it is guaranteed to be blamed on the other person's population. Like if a crime happens in Japan, it'll be blamed on a Korean or a Chinese person. It is ridiculous. It is crazy. And it's such a small percentage of their population, but it's...
And a lot of this is actually just built into their culture, because these people have been told by their parents. And, they've been at war. They've been told by their grandparents and their parents, their great-grandparents, that should just like not like these other cultures. And so when they grow up, it's been there for generations, hundreds, thousands of years. It's a lot, and a lot of that's like like even in the same race, it's like different cultures in the same race, like Islam and Asian, like Chinese and Japanese, like, or Korean,
Buddhist and Catholic. I know Japan in the 1600s got a huge influx of Catholicism, and then a little bit later Protestantism, and their history of Buddhism. They all hate each other, even though they're all Japanese.
They fight over that.
Yep. Speaking of their culture, Andrew, do you have anything to say about their degradation of said culture?
Yeah, I got a lot, which is mostly there's a lot of culture with degradation. So I did a bunch of my research on Italy, and a lot of this is in the big cities, where in these big cities, like for Japan, like Kyoto or Tokyo, or for Italy, let's say Venice and Rome, these cities have had an influx of so many people. It's a lot of tourists, but also a lot of migrants. So the locals there, like I got some pretty crazy statistics. In Venice, Italy, there are 50,000 residents who live there a year, and there are 20 million tourists a year, which is
oh my goodness,
that's a lot more. It's like way more
Yeah.
actually. Uh, 68% of residents in heavily touristed areas say that they are against tourism because it harms local culture and their daily life. It disrupts literally everything. And as you can imagine, having 20 million visitors per 50,000 residents a year is kind of a lot. Kyoto receives 50 million visitors yearly, and there are many complaints about noise, litter, disrespect in temple districts.
Yeah.
But the reason these countries do this so much is because economically, it's like it's like taking Adderall. It's like the best thing ever short term, but it crashes. Like it's not very long term sustainable. It'll replace the original outputs of the economy almost. So there are many areas where like tourism tourism makes up 10% of the worldwide GDP.
Well,
It's like very, very lucrative, especially in places like Japan and Italy. It makes up over half of Italy's GDP,
that's
which is
crazy.
a massive statistic. Tourism making over half your country's GDP isn't very good when it's also really bad for your culture because it just massively degrades culture. I have a few sources here. Like I have one about socioeconomic planning, and it's it doesn't it it really just describes how messed up these countries are as far as the economics of tourism because the more you allow it to just boost your economy, the more your economy is replaced by it.
Yeah.
It's like a crutch. And the locals really dislike it. That's why so many of these places are going far right. The world is a very far right place right now, even in Europe and America,
Mm,
because it's almost reached a breaking point where tourism sustainability has just gone down. I mean, every year there's more tourists,
yeah.
year by year. If you look at like a graph, it's crazy. It just keeps going up. And these people only want to handle this for so long. I mean, you're getting your daily life interrupted. It's stuff you see on the news. It's everywhere. It's just, and with the rise of social media, it's not gotten any better
Hmm.
because it's given people a platform to raise their complaints.
Yeah. I
Um,
know you touched a little bit on some of the economic value, some of the GDP, especially in Italy. I did a little bit of research for Japan, and did you know that Taylor Swift brings in about $10 million of tourist money in every city that she performs in?
I did not.
Taylor Swift would have to perform 24,000 times in Japan to get the same amount of money that they normally get per year from just tourism. $237 billion a year in just
Wow,
tourist
that's a
spending.
lot.
It's crazy. It is so much money, and there's so much dislike for foreigners, but at the same time, there's just so much cash being dragged into their economy, flooding it. I don't know if Japan would still be respected or such a big power if they didn't get this influx of cash constantly from people wanting to tour their cities and everything. It's
Yeah, pimping out their cities.
pimping
Like,
out their cities to the world so they can keep the government running. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's just so much. There's a bunch of and now as we're going into more rather than just increasing the influx of tourism to its max. These countries are trying to work on more sustainability, the balance perspective, the middle way.
Mm-hmm.
I had in Tanaka et al. 2022 discovered sustainability Uh, we it touched on how Japan uses conservation and use agreements, CUAs,
Mm-hmm.
and these let, like for say Okinawa, it lets locals self-regulate ecotourism.
Yep.
So these set visitor caps, these protect the natural environment, which is a big part of this. Is it's not just like a people, it's also the environment that's getting kind of messed up.
Mm-hmm.
So these are protecting reefs, forest, and it's just setting caps. And what they discovered is it doesn't actually work as well to let the locals self-regulate, because what'll happen is these small towns and these like mini governments will try to get as much money as possible. It's kind of like if you let everybody decide their individual part, they're just going to take as much money as they can
Mm-hmm.
and hope the others don't. So it kind of just ends up not working at all. What there needs to be is data driven crowd management, equitable local benefits, and visitor caps for sustainable tourism rather than just local
Yeah.
sustainability.
Yeah.
There needs to be like a federal, like federal caps for each region rather than just letting local governments do the job.
I agree, because it's funny you mentioned that. In discrimination against foreigners in Japan, there are multiple cases where local governments are given the power to decide tourist law in their area, and a lot of it wasn't just get as much money as you can. A lot of it was the exact opposite. We don't want any foreigners here. Don't spend your money here. Go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Lots of extremes.
Like, yes, extremes on both ends. There's not like a middle ground when it's local policy. It's like a super left or a super right or a super corrupt.
Sustainability should be the objective.
Yeah.
I believe.
But I mean, personally, I think that the world is super far right now. Surprisingly, the current youth, the Gen Z, is becoming more and more far right, which is weird.
Yeah,
that's not normal. I think it's gonna I think it's gonna shift
young.
back. I think it is shifting
Ooh.
back right now. I know some guys who are far right who are pretty mad at the economy and the leaders.
At everyone.
Yeah, and everyone. Yeah. But I believe a lot of this hatred for tourism is directly attached to the world's financial bubble that feels like it's gonna pop any day now. Everybody's stressed and everybody wants somebody to blame, and people who are on the right side of the political spectrum point the finger at foreigners. And I don't really think it's that bad. I mean, I've never witnessed something that bad taking place from a foreigner by a foreigner. I feel like most people are good. That's kind of a belief I have, is that most people are good. And I mean,
I can wholeheartedly agree with that. I mean, just the statistics on tourism only get more extreme the more time goes on, which is why we kind of need to limit stuff like that now.
Mm-hmm.
For Italy, I mean, it's over 3.5 million jobs that contribute to tourism.
Yeah.
I think I might have said a statistic wrong earlier. It's 13% of their GDP, not whatever. I think I said 50.
You said 50, yeah. Blew my mind.
Okay, yeah, no. It's 13.
All right, I'll have to add an asterisk or something at the bottom.
Yeah. But yeah, the more extreme it gets, the more extreme people are gonna get with, okay, we need to limit this completely. Like with Japan, as you said, with people just completely cutting people out. Like be like, no black people or no tourists at all, like only Japanese. And it's becoming more common in not just Japan. Japan has a lot of that, but it's also things just like Italy. And these cities are just being completely taken over by tourists.
Yeah.
And it's a tourist city. There's no people just going to work, and it's not for tourism.
Right.
And I believe that needs to change very significantly.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, Andrew? Or
Well, I say as far as the future, I think the way this should be shifted is towards sustainability. And there's plenty of ways this can be done, not only just by limiting the number, but using tourism money
mm,
towards eco-sustainability programs, making sure your environment isn't damaged, towards helping the locals stay happy. you know,
yeah.
you're gonna have to limit the behavior of tourists rather than just the amount. You can't just let them do whatever they want, mess everything up, because there is a lot of that. Now, obviously, you're not gonna chain them up or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
but programs and pledges to make tourists active participants in the preservation of these countries. They're doing that in Norway, New Zealand.
Mm,
Uh, but I'd say just heading towards the middle ground is always the best. It's not a savior or a villain. It's about management and mindset.
yeah.
That's what tourism needs to head over
I agree.
towards.
Um, I think in 20 years, everybody's going to think completely differently. And I
Agreed.
think foreigners are not going to be blamed as much, or they'll be blamed way more, and we would have nuked
We have
ourselves
no
by
idea.
then. Yeah.
We'll figure it out. I reckon.
But yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you for listening. If you listen this
Yeah.
far,
Hopefully. Maybe.
hopefully. The end.